I'm not sure, but I think I may have found a better setting or setup for this mic. So if you're enjoying crispy new audio in 2000, what is it, 22? In 2022, then please go join my Subscribe Star. I'm going to put a link to whatever it is in wherever it is, and you're going to follow that link. And I know, look, Patreon is annoying enough, but here's the deal with Subscribe Star. It's super easy to sign up to because I ended up there. And if you don't think you can do what I can do, I think you should give yourself some more credit. And then once you're there, you can donate to other people who are on Subscribe Star or start your own Subscribe Star. And you're like, well, why didn't I just do that on Patreon? Because Subscribe Star doesn't censor content creators in the same way that Patreon does. All the people that get yanked off of Patreon end up on Subscribe Star. So I just figure I'll start there. Go over, donate this like 50 cents a month. I just want to get to 50 people. Yeah, I'll do all the reading out the names. Whatever it is you fucking people want. Yeah, so this has been my weird little unsolicited advertisement for myself and Subscribestar. Now I hate both those things. Yeah, seriously, if you do appreciate my work, I would really, really appreciate it. And now's a better time to develop a parasocial relationship with what I do than ever, because obviously there's the bad empanada.
Queer theorists
trying to equate two things that are not even remotely equatable.
Now, another thing is Bad Empanada has been, this has just become a Bad Empanada like fan channel, but I promise there are other gender theists that will be featured. You can skip ahead if you don't want to hear anymore. Bad Empanada has been in a conflict with Haas, who is kind of, I don't know, seems quite young, bro, Marxist-Leninist, I guess. And so, being heaps broy, it's like really important to him that he appears sexually capable. And so, anytime he doesn't, Bad Empanada just really points this out. Recently, Haz was speaking to like this woman on stream, and she was saying something to him about, like, she made a joke about girls having 3 holes, in meaning like the urethra, as well, and Haas got confused, and Bad Empanada started being like, you don't even know about girl parts, which is a really funny thing for a gender theist to say. And so I want to make a response to that in some way, and I think I will use video where Bad Empanada, it's the only kind of gender video he's ever made, and he like comes up with this phrase, cis exclusionary radical feminism, and he like does this parody of, like, he's essentially trying to parody TERFs, but you know, too ignorant of the context to realize that his parody is hilarious. No, I have the meta-narrative. And speaking of being too ignorant of the context to have an opinion, oh my goodness, this is the best Christmas ever. So, when I was debating CritFacts, yeah, there would be 2 kinds of people that would come to CritFacts defenses. The kind of Foot Clan, or the Putties if you're a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers type person. The NPCs of CritFacts' world would come in and have their little turn. But then, ever so often, there would be a much bigger channel, that would see what was going on, and they would try to come in and get involved. And the difference usually was that they would have some kind of logic to what they were saying. They would have more than one thing that they, that they could say, and they could string ideas together, most importantly. So one of these people we're going to call Monty, who goes by the fucking whatever Twitter thing at Katie Montgomery. So those of you who are familiar with that person can get all excited. So just as an example, Monty has 51,000 followers on Twitter and almost 12,000 subscribers on YouTube. And the channels and Twitter accounts are completely devoted to the gender debate. In terms of playlists, they're called the XX Factor turf wars, transatlantic call-in show. Yeah, so everything except for the guitar, the bass guitar, we'll let that speak for itself, is all trans. So having spent all this time with all this experience, all this knowledge, talking to all these people, think of all the guests, all the interviews, all the thinking that Monty's been doing this entire time, just like Hypnotoad. So here's the thread that we got into. First, I posted ritual gender cutting in a shiny white coat with a trans left hand, exploring the relationship between so-called sex reassignment surgery and circumcision. And then Monty comes in with, one is a medical treatment and the other isn't. To which I reply, the US medical establishment still considers both to be medical treatments, and the US element of it was specifically important if you'd seen the fucking video. Just like they did with lobotomies, and just like they did with Dr. John Money's horrific experiments. So that's probably not the best defense. To which Monty said, here's what the NHS says, which is completely fucking irrelevant because I'm making a point about the US medical blah blah. So we skip over that. To which I reply, the whole point is the US has a completely different relationship to this practice. So getting something from the NHS isn't going to be relevant. The NHS never greenlit John Money, for example. Did you watch Klopper's video? And Eric Klopper was the guy who gave the circumcision presentation in the video. To which Monty says, I don't know what a Klopper is. I saw maybe the first 4 of yours so far. Well done. If only you'd kept going, you might have learnt what you needed to know. Monty continues, the NHS is correct in what it says there, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Yes, moron! But I'm making a point about what is happening in the US specifically. Monty continues, sometimes it's medical, then it's good. The rest of the time it's not, then it's bad. Nothing like transition. I mean, isn't that exactly like transition? If I'm to understand your argument correctly, Monty, you're saying that in the United States, where transition is done for medical reasons, then it's good. But in somewhere like Iran, where it's clearly done for religious reasons, then it's bad. So in that sense, it's exactly like circumcision. I can't even be fucked getting into that. So then I say, Klopper's the dude ranting on stage about circumcision. He cites the US medical documents arguing that routine circumcision is medically beneficial. Transition is the most common in the US, like how it's common in Iran. Socially convenient / profitable in homophobic stratified societies. Most people desist. To which Monty says, it's not common in Iran, lol. It's not common in Iran. Monty continues, Iran is abysmal for trans rights and healthcare. I respond, just because human rights and healthcare are crap doesn't mean they don't do a lot of transitions. I mean, look at the US. Same situation. And I posted a quote from a news article which said, in Iran, homosexuality is a crime punishable with death for men and lashings for women, but Iran is also the only Muslim country in the Persian Gulf region that gives trans citizens the right to have their gender identity recognized by law. In fact, the Islamic Republic of Iran not only allows sex reassignment, but also subsidizes it. I've heard you can even get like special business loans if you're trans. And then I posted another article by the BBC, the gay people pushed to change their gender. In Iran, gay people are often told they are trapped in the wrong body and pressured to change their gender. So now Monty's got to back down slightly. It's not as funny as we thought it was. And says, it definitely happens. It's not common. Trans rights and healthcare rights are terrible there. In the US and UK, the acceptance of gay people is way higher than trans people. Yeah, and weirdly, the acceptance of gay people has gone down as the acceptance of trans people has gone up, almost like they're two different groups with two completely different sets of interests. Lol. To which I said, How often would you consider common? The state subsidizes transition and officially recognizes it in government documents. And then I posted a link from the sex reassignment surgery article on Wikipedia, which says Thailand is the country that performs the most sex reassignment surgeries, followed by Iran.
I got the boat, but not the lake. I got the sheets, but not the bed. I got the jam, but not the bread. But hey, I'm bigging around. I'm bigging around. I'm bigging around. Hey, I'm bigging around.
To which I said, also, I think this article implies that actually more SRS happens in Thailand and Iran than in the US. That's a whole lot of SRS for it not to be common, don't you think? Otherwise, what is it in the US? Extremely rare? And then, all of a sudden, no replies. No likes, no comments, no one thought anything was funny. It all just dried up all of a sudden. Oh yeah, and the comments that Monty posted, like in the aftermath, in the wake of obviously having read the comments about Iran and realizing that he had fucked up. And one of them was Monty responding to someone who had said, very convinced that man GCs are self-hating with dysphoria or straight up conservatives, and goes on like that, to which Monty says, you've missed one key force of the trilogy. Yes, some are self-hating closet trans, and a lot are just generic conservatives, but so many are horny for trans women and are angry about it. Half at least. Of course, they can horrifyingly be all three. Is that what's happening? So anyway, then I went and found just random Monty tweets and started reposting the conversation, trying to get Monty's attention, and that was unsuccessful. So I consider that a pretty great win. And another angle, I guess, that I hadn't really thought of before, in terms of most first world gender theists, from your Crits Fact to your Vorsches to your Bads Empanada to your Monty's Montgomery, would be completely unaware of Iran and Thailand. And so that's how they're able to have their completely distorted opinions on how progressive sex reassignment surgery is. Also, no one liked the Twitter beef. Are we not into Twitter? I'm having a ball. So, you know. No, I don't got a Twitter. I prefer to. Hey!
I will never go see stand-up comedy again. Well, we are sorry that you experienced that with our services.